US Marshal is in charge of extraditing a key witness in a huge mob case. She has a 70s show carry-on a private jet across Alaska. However, it seems the pilot is not who he seems, and turns out to be a real pain in the butt. It becomes a game of rat and flying fox in this cabin-pressured thriller in Flight Risk.
Hello there, you loose units, and welcome back to another episode of Spicy Boy Reviews. I'm, of course, your host, Andrew Iles. That's right, Flight Risk, directed by Mad Max himself, Mel Gibson, and this being his 6th directorial film. And oddly enough, this is written by first-time writer Jared Rosenberg, and this being his feature film debut. We meet white-collared criminal on the run Winston, who used to be a personal accountant for big-time mob boss Moretti, who he ripped off a shit ton of money of, which could only have gone well. Turns out the mob bosses don't like to be stolen from, so not only are the mob after Winston, but also the authorities, as he could be a key witness by putting Moretti behind bars. And wouldn't you know it, US Marshal Madeline corners Winston in a shitty motel in Alaska, and gets the wheels a-turning to get him extradited. You see, Madeline has some dark past regarding some field work, and has been demoted to desk jockey for an unspecified amount of time. However, her boss has gone in to bat for her, and given her an opportunity to prove herself with this assignment. A few days later, Madeline and Winston are booked on a private little jet, so the two can head back to the big city so Winston can stand trial. Then enter oddball pilot Daryl, who was all kinds of kooky and unsettling. And wouldn't you know it, once in the air, the shit hits the propellers. And Madeline and Winston soon discover that Daryl is not Daryl, but a sadistic hitman hired by Moretti. There's a struggling, there's a fighting, and then Daryl ends up apprehended and handcuffed at the back of the plane. Here we are, up in the air in a tin can. The GPS and radio have been disabled by Daryl. A soon-to-be witness protection criminal, Star Witness, is chained up in the plane with a huge target on his back. The psychotic hitman pilot is handcuffed at the back of the plane. And we have a US Marshal who's in over her head, who has no idea how to fly a plane, let alone land one. Stakes! This is a great little bottled thriller. The kind you would expect to be a big deal if it was released back in the 90s. It's straightforward and simple with its execution. And it runs at a brisk pace of 1 hour and a half with absolutely no fat on it. You get what's expected for these kind of bottled thrillers. You know, you get suspicion and intrigue. Character secrets are revealed with some development and growth, twists and turns, and some super tense moments. It's a nice tight little cast of 3, perfect for one of these small little forgettable thrillers. You've got Mark Wahlberg, who's playing super creepy, slimy, unsettling, and absolutely psychotic. He's having an absolute blast with the material that he's given. It's like he's gone back to his origin big screen roots. I'm not sure why he chose the hairstyle of the character though, with the baldness. Like, it's a choice, I get it. Maybe it's to make the character more unsettling and not just Marky Mark. I don't know. Whatever the reason, it's there. Topher Grace is his usual quirky Topher Grace, you know, bringing a Topher Grace type of character. You know the kind, always having a quirky little remark to provide some levity to some super tense situation. But however, he does deliver a pretty heartfelt monologue when the movie requires it. And English actress Michelle Dockery is really good as our lead. Her character starts out super confident and bombastic like she's got this, but ends up in a world of shit and in way over her head. And to get out of it, she uses her knowledge and resources and some unlikely help here and there. This is easily Mel Gibson's most disposable popcorn film. It's not super deep by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, it's really incredibly simple. But I honestly don't see that as a bad thing. I've been seeing a little bit of hate for this film online before and after I saw the movie, and I kind of don't get it. Like, I suppose Mel Gibson has, had a career of these deep, sweeping, epic films that is an absolute experience. And this is kind of a bottled, forgettable thriller. Like the debate online of why would Mel Gibson choose a movie like this? And I say, why fucking not? Yeah, this film is not going to win any awards, or it's not going to be one of those films you're going to rave about for years to come. But my God, did I not have a pleasant time watching it. I think also the timing of this film is interesting as well, because there's a lot of political and cultural things happening in America right now. And Mel Gibson's name came up in a certain discussion of being the future of Hollywood, potentially. And then this film comes out, which again is a forgettable bottled thriller. And they're like, oh, really? This guy? Yeah, it's just silly fun, this movie. And in all honesty, my cinema when seeing this was absolutely packed, which was great to see. It was really great to see, like a bunch of families just going out to see this silly little bottled thriller. It shows to me that that's what the general public want, just normal, entertaining fun. They want to switch their brains off, have a good time. Like I said, it's not super deep or emotional and doesn't push any messaging on you. Disney, I'm looking at you. Yeah, this film is just good, disposable fun. And going back to what I said with certain critics and people online sort of bashing this film, I say to you, what did you really expect? What you saw in the trailer was exactly what the film delivered. The only difference is Mark Wahlberg's kind of incapacitated for most of the film, even though he's on all the posters. And yeah, it feels like it harkens back to a film that would have been probably a big deal back in the 90s. But like I said, I don't think this film marketed itself anything other than what it is. Anyway, you don't have to like it, you don't have to watch it, it is completely up to you because that is what free will is. Me, however, I had a good time. Hour and a half, switched my brain off, had a little bit of fun, whatever. Yeah, it's one of those old school, simple little bottle thrillers. Yeah, go see it if you're interested in that kind of thing. But anyway, guys, that's my cheeky little review of Flight Risk. Right down below the center, what are your thoughts on it? But more importantly, what is your favourite of those bottled little thrillers? And of course, if you've made it this far in the episode, please give me a thumbs up because your love and support keeps me going because I just love movies and I assume you do as well. And of course, I give it an episode weekly, so hit that follow icon and I'll see you back here next week for the next review. But until then, stay spooky, kids.